We're going to studio tour. Let's rock this thing. Hopefully I don't hit someone when I'm vlogging. Hey, a minute. Which one's different? Hey, this game is supposed to be gay beat. So yeah, here we go. This one. I choose this one. Why? Because it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be random.
Car 1 has a lot of room, guys.
Well, car number 2, you get to see all the good stuff back here. I mean, car number 3. Where's car number 3? It's sort of seen a little bit of this, so I'm gonna save enough footage. Sort of myself.
As I said, a picture car is any car seen by the camera, and over the years they have grown bigger, badder, and faster as movie audiences embrace their need for speed. I know you'll recognize these cars over here to the left, but if you need a little trigger in your memory, all the individual productions they were used in labeled on each individual board behind each individual car. There's Magnum PI's car, driven by Tom Selleck. There's the Kit car from the remake of the Knight Rider TV series, voiced by Val Kilmer. Here's some of the cars from the Back to the Future movies, including the very famous DeLorean. And on the end, we do have some of the cars from the Fast and the Furious films.
Oh my god, they still got it! Holy crap!
Job one, yeah.
I gotta get a better shot of that next time, seriously.
We're gonna go now inside of our special effects stage 55. This is a special effects stage decked out like Tokyo in honor of Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Guess what, folks? They are running through action sequences today on this stage, similar to ones we'd see in the Fast and the Furious film, using these demonstration cars over here to the left, so we get to be the test audience for all of that. Take a look over to the left and get ready for some high-octane excitement.
Clear on the set. Let's see the bullet hits. And go. Smoke. Go. Fire. Go. Okay, we're clear for a full run through. All systems checked. This one's for real, guys, so watch out. And action.
Take a bow, boys. Aww. You got any other moves you want to show us today? At least where we have some of the sets, the prop pieces, and the picture cars from Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park films. The mobile lanyard on your screen is cut off from your life on the left side of the tram. One of Spielberg's first jobs working here at Universal was to take writer Michael Crichton around on a tour of the facilities. Well, little did either of the men know that more than 20 years later, those books would be directed into such blockbuster films. The last Jurassic Park movie came out in 2001, so those dinosaurs are definitely extinct by now. But this is the type of area we'd shoot a dinosaur in the movie. If you think about it, you'd always have the camouflage of the foliage. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Cool. Oh crap! I got the both sides. Ah shit! That's hurt me.
Those dinosaurs are going to be on the big screen again before we know it. They just announced Jurassic Park 4 in the works. The mist and the fog we just traveled through are great examples of weather effects, and I have a weather guy on board, Al Roker of the Today Show, who's going to tell us a bit about the weather coming up on the tour.
Hi everybody, here's today's forecast for the Universal Backlot. It's going to be sunny and dry in 6 Points, Texas. Cool and cloudy in Little Europe. Expect snow and sleet on New York Street, and we've got a high chance of fog and precipitation for Skull Island, Amity Island, and Island Wall.
Over here to the left side of the tram, so get ready for it. A storm, and it's begun. See that light on the walls back there? And you hear the roar of the thunder, so the storm's coming to the area. Next we would cue rain. Rain is created with overhead sprinkler systems. Hidden from the camera's view, they'll shoot the water straight up into the air, and then when it falls back down to the earth, it looks very natural, just like rain. Well, that has it. There you go. Storm for the movies. That concludes our weather effects demonstration. Wait a second. Hey guys, the water's still coming down out here. Yeah, the sprinklers are still going. Oh, that's not good. No, because you know what happens when you get too much rain. Flash flood.
Wow.
Woo! That flash flood is caused by releasing thousands of gallons of recycled water from big tanks to the top of that hill. The water is then pumped back up and reused again in our drinking fountains in the park. This area is called Old Mexico. It's been featured in movies like Three Amigos, Big Fat Liar, and Hop. Also in TV shows like Community House, Heroes, and Shameless. If you're a Lady Gaga fan, you might recognize that flood. She stands in the middle of it for her Judas video. Now I mentioned Hop is one of the movies that shot here, but they didn't actually use these sets as Mexico.
You're about to be crowned the Easter Bunny.
Look, Dad, I want to drum in a band. I want to see the world.
Yippee, the Easter Bunny sees every country in one night.
Oh, really, Dad? What about China?
China! Right here where the tram is. For Hop.
Wow.
It's candy, woman! Alright, so we haven't cracked China yet.
But we're going to cross back over the border now from Mexico to the wild, wild west. 6 Points, Texas. That's where we're headed. There are 6 streets that lead into one central location, and when westerns were very popular, we could shoot 6 of them at the exact same time. One production over here to the left side of the tram, so get ready for it. A storm, and it's begun. See that light on the walls back there? And you hear the roar of the thunder, so the storm's coming to the area. Next we would cue rain. Rain is created with overhead sprinkler systems. Hidden from the camera's view, they'll shoot the water straight up into the air, and then when it falls back down to the earth, it looks very natural, just like rain. Well, that has it. There you go. Storm for the movies. That concludes our weather effects demonstration. Wait a second. Hey guys, the water's still coming down out here. Yeah, the sprinklers are still going. Oh, that's not good. No, because you know what happens when you get too much rain. Flash flood.
Wow.
Woo! That flash flood is caused by releasing thousands of gallons of recycled water from big tanks to the top of that hill. The water is then pumped back up and reused again in our drinking fountains in the park. This area is called Old Mexico. It's been featured in movies like Three Amigos, Big Fat Liar, and Hop. Also in TV shows like Community House, Heroes, and Shameless. If you're a Lady Gaga fan, you might recognize that float. She stands in the middle of it for her Judas video. Now, I mentioned Hop is one of the movies that shot here, but they didn't actually use these sets as Mexico.
We're about to be crowned the Easter Bunny.
Look, Dad, I want to drum in a band. I want to see the world.
Maybe the Easter Bunny sees every country in one night. Oh, really, Dad? What about China?
China! Right here where the tram is. For Hop.
Wow.
It's candy, woman! All right, so we haven't cracked China yet.
But we're going to cross back over the border now from Mexico to the Wild, Wild West. 6 Points, Texas. That's where we're headed. There are 6 streets that lead into one central location, and when Westerns were very popular, we could shoot 6 of them at the exact same time. One production, and even this cowboy.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I ain't going anywhere, Jimmy Fallon.
Now look here. Nice folks in this tram don't want no trouble. They just want to check out 6 Points, one of the oldest sets on the Universal line.
I hear this is where John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart shot a few of their westerns.
That's right. That's where I aim to shoot.
Looks like we got ourselves a Mexican standoff. Lucky shot.
Now what say you mount up and get out of town while the getting's good?
All right. Well, I'll see you again, fella.
Or you can count on it, Don. Now get.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
We just have to talk it out, that's all.
Brought in a ton of dirt to cover that asphalt road. Now you might notice some of the doors in the sets look kind of small and other doors look larger than life. Well, that's one of those Hollywood illusions. You see, in the small door, the big brawny cowboy would appear and look even bigger and brawnier. And in the big doors, the tiny damsel in distress would look like she really needed rescuing. Here are some of those famous Western cowboy stars from Universal movies. The future. That's not his neighborhood back there, though. Those signs were somewhere else in the valley. You know, a lot of famous people have worked here, specifically directors, and we already have talked a little bit about Steven Spielberg's contributions for you.
Yeah, that's what I've been waiting for. Woo!
Well, from one director to another, we're going to turn the show back over to Mr. Peter Jackson, the director of King Kong, and he'll tell us a little bit more about this King Kong experience.
Oh man, the thing's been smashed.
The Universal Tram is winding its way through a very rough, narrow trail in Skull Island, allowing the visitors a little sneak peek at some of the wildlife of Skull Island.
Crap! Ah, what the heck? Whoa! Whoa, what's going on? Ah! Oh my god! Ah! Wow! Wow!
Firsthand. The screen is projected out stand over 40 feet tall and 180 feet long, and it utilizes some of the most advanced technologies in filmmaking today. Peter Jackson and his team at Ready Digital have won 5 Academy Awards and have worked in other very impressive movies like Avatar and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and they're finishing up The Hobbit. Location that's represented in a movie. So as I said, it's a lot of the art direction that goes into that. Here are some movies that really would be what they were if it wasn't for the superior art direction. technique was used by Peter Jackson in King Kong. He used over 800 miniatures in the making of the film, including this one, the SS Venture. It was the ship that the crew uses to arrive to Skull Island in. Well, many of the shots of the ship and Skull Island are just miniatures. You would never really know it watching the movie, though, would you? So just to prove my point, we are going to show you these miniatures coming up in real life off to the left side of the... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look at this, folks. Look at this! The road up ahead, totally flooded. Oh, I guess we're going to be stuck here for a while. Nah, you know where we're at? It's a very famous location on our back lot. It's the Red Sea. So in order to get through without getting wet, we have to part the waters. On the count of 3, can everybody on board help me out and say part the waters? It just might work. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Part the waters! This is the parting of the Red Sea and HollyWood goodie on your backlot tour. This has been around for quite some time. Here's how it looked in a movie from the 80s.
This tram is overloaded. Tell them they can walk on water. It's part of the tour.
All right, now you're going to go into the water and experience what Moses did. Everybody up. 1, 2, 3.
All right, we're not going to ask that of you today. Stay on board, stay dry, keep your arms and legs inside the cars, and over to the left, don't forget the SS Venture and Skull Island. And now you'll see it at sea level, meaning eye level of the water. Here's how it appeared when Peter Jackson and his team was shooting that scene right here on the backlot. Greece, I mean, you get the idea. Any European country, simply by changing the language on the windows and on the signs, can be represented here in Little Europe. Now, I will say, though, some of the past productions I've shot here are, wow, big movies, like Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean. The first 3 shot scenes inside of these sets. Angels and Demons with Tom Hanks. Night and Day with Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz. They traveled to real Europe, but those movies also shot scenes here in our Little Europe. Television shows like to use these sets. TV shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm and True Blood. And also the movie Heroes used it, but as India, which of course is influenced by European architecture.
Very dangerous job. The wrong fare, the wrong time. We may never know what really happened.
Oh, I spoke to him 2 days ago. He was convinced someone was following him, trying to steal his research. He died because of his fear. That's crazy, is it?
Look at that. Well, you know, you can't talk about Little Europe, though, without mentioning classic monster movies. We created the genre with Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy, Hunchback of Notre Dame. On the right, that is the Court of Miracles, and that's where many of Hollywood's spookiest monsters got their start.